I was 19, it was summer vacation. As a college kid, you're always looking for a summer job. And I finally found a job in a factory in Connecticut that made light bulbs. And I was put on an assembly line, because this looks all really funny. But I was put on an assembly line, and these were my tools: a tweezer. I had a tweezer, and I had a spring. And there was a conveyor belt that went around and around. And my job was to take the tweezer, pick up the spring, and put it on that. So imagine, it wasn't just stationary, it was moving. And every time I put one on, two fell off. And it was just like, right? It was really unbelievably, I had never experienced anything like that in my life, okay? So this is what the task felt like to me. I was put in this position. I don't know how I was selected for that particular task, unless that's the low man on the totem pole's task, and if you survive that, you go on to bigger and better things. But that's what it felt like to me. And my emotions very quickly felt like this, right? So at break, I had the courage to go up to a couple of people and say to them, look, is there any way we can slow down that conveyor belt? Is there any way? I'm really having a hard time. And they looked at me like I was crazy. It was like, no, we're not slowing that down. And I was 19, and I was not as bold as I was then, but I was really so stressed. And so I said to them, well, could we slow it down a little? And if we can't slow it down, why can't we? And their response was, well, because we're in competition with all the other groups in here, and there's a prize. We got a prize on Friday. I was like, a prize? Well, what are you getting? You're getting some money, you're getting a bonus, you're getting a day off. What's the prize? And when they said the prize is a box of donuts, I almost, a box of donuts, I said, I'll buy you a box of donuts if you just slow the line down. But it didn't happen. And so what happened when I went back, I made even more mistakes. My stress level got higher and higher. I made even more mistakes. People got really mad at me because I was going to be the cause of no donuts, no prize, no winning the big thing. And I had the worst headache I ever had in my life when I went home. And you know what I thought about? I couldn't even sleep. I thought about, how do I get better at this? Should I get a tweezer tomorrow and start practicing? I needed the job, but the job was way beyond what my capabilities were. So I thought it might get better. It didn't get better. I got fired. Luckily, it was Thursday. I got fired the next day. I guess they hire newbies on Thursday so they can fire them on Friday because they know they're not going to make it. I was relieved, but I was really embarrassed. It feels really bad not to be able to do things that you think other people can do. And it was a long time before I ever thought about donuts. All right, so here's some things to think about. So when I was thinking, when I was making this presentation, I was thinking about some of my really negative experiences. This was right up there, right? Who made the rules that made this system work? They weren't my rules. I was trying to advocate for some different rules. How is the individual treated within the system? And what are the individual's needs, and how are those needs recognized? What had I learned about myself and my capabilities, and what had I learned about my fellow colleagues, my fellow workers on the line? Okay, so how does this parallel what happens to students in school?